That was a banger, dude. I'll watch that one more time. That was sick. That was better than I thought it was going to be. That was fucking dope.
You do not.
You were right the whole time. I appreciate the praise, but that's how they set it up. But what I didn't expect was for Riot to subvert my expectation and then do it anyways. The motherfuckers, dude. I love that shit. I love that shit. Not a lot of storytellers can do that successfully, where they can subvert the expectation by going, oh, well, this is the thing that happens. It didn't happen how you thought it was going to, but then it fucking happens anyways, dude.
8 months
Oh,
punk.
they were like, no, haha, unless, but yeah, they're like, psych. That's fucking sick. Anyway, I'm gonna watch it again. Yeah, Sanu's all this conquering warlord.
Do not belong here, Seneschal.
So this is obviously after he's grabbed the weapon and he's talking to him.
Do not meddle with the power of gods.
And it's interesting because Zehen I don't think Zehen says that he's a god, but Zehen was once a mortal meddling with the power of gods. So it's almost like Zehen is speaking to his own experience here. Like, don't fuck around with this. You should not be doing this.
Is that what you are? Gods?
I am not your answer.
Man, the way that the glaive moves around in his hand is so creepy. It's almost like he's like having a hard time controlling it, or it's like shifting around almost like unnaturally. It's so weird. It feels like he sees himself in Shin. Yeah, absolutely. A noble cause drawn to defend his homeland, meddling with powers that risk his very undoing. Like, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this was hinted at in some of the Yunara cinematics and comics before, where I believe it was Yunara was standing at the Temple of Twilight and she saw her friend, but then she saw an image of a man who she didn't recognize. And I'm pretty sure that was Xin Zhao. And I think what that story was trying to do was create this contrast between them standing in the same place, like a mirror. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that Zehen would see some of Xin Zhao in him. I feel like their story arc could be just very similar, but also just like their ideals, their desire to do good, but, willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. Ultimately, Zehen asked to be imprisoned, which is entirely different from the context of every other Darken imprisonment that I'm aware of. That is not normal. That's fucking not normal.
Answer. Only evil deferred.
Yeah, you can see that kind of demonic essence really reaching over the glaive itself.
Evil does not relinquish power.
And she's so creepy. Her eyes are like, she's like looking down, but her eyes look like completely black. Jesus Christ, she's creepy, dude. Ugh. Even her outfit looks like it's like kind of crawling over her skin in a similar way that the essence of Atakan crawls over the glaive, dude. I know that she's positioned in Arcane as like a sorceress and all that. Man, it would be so interesting if she had some correlation with some high power level demon, like a fucking demon of deception or pride or something like that. Man, I want it so fucking bad. That'd be so sick.
Does not relinquish power.
Evil does not relinquish power.
You must have known you could not hide forever.
No one returns.
Can you imagine just being a normal ass person and being confronted with something like Atakan? You're just fucking dead. Like, any of us, bro, we're just fucking dead 1 billion times over. There's no fucking chance. Like, thank God for these champions, because holy fuck, normal people in this world are just, they're just gone. They're just gone. They have zero chance. Like, you're just dead. You're just dead. I would just see it and die. Yeah, exactly. I would just look at it and I would perish. That would be it. Even Shin had 0 chance. I mean, yeah, Atakan again is not some minor demon. He's fucking powerful.
Beyond the veil.
No one returns from beyond the veil. We can't be set free. We're stuck on the other side. Seeing the Aeon Erna in action's pretty dope, too. These spiritual, almost draconic manifestation sprites are so fucking sick.
I have seen beyond the veil. Watched as the spirit of the First Lands roared to life.
That is crazy, dude. That appears to be literally a tear in the veil. That's like the tear above ICC into fucking Shadowlands, dude. That's what that is, man. This place has a direct and powerful connection to the spirit realm. Holy fuck. I wonder if demons have to be... ooh, that'd be a fun trope that they could pull from World of Warcraft.
Watched as the
Demons in WoW have to be either killed in the Twisting Nether, where they come from. Demons in Runeterra come from the spirit realm. So, or in places inundated with that power. So it's very interesting. It almost makes me wonder if like they could pull a similar type of trope in this game where demons can be sealed with magical swords and shit and masks like what Yone does, but in order to truly kill and destroy them, maybe you have to either do it in the spirit realm or at a place directly linked to the spirit realm. But yeah, it looks like this thing's trying to like push it into the spirit realm, push it out of reality or something like that. But anyway, not really any evidence of that, but that's how it works in World of Warcraft.
spirit of the First Lands roared to life.
You have to like kill them in their realm. And the same thing, it's not just demons that are like that, elementals and stuff are like that too. Reminder that in the Realms of Runeterra book, when Vladimir is out in the Shadow Isles pursuing a magical relic, I can't even remember what it is that he's after. There's something out there. It might have been the bell, or he's after something out there. There's a point where they're on this little treasure hunter's island where this little inn is, where like this run by this treasure hunter person, and like treasure hunters come in and they stay there and they keep their stuff there, put in a vault and stuff so it can be kept secure and all that. And I remember there's one point where they try to leave and they go out to the boats, and all of the boats are being held down by blood red and black chains. And it's Vladimir that's actually doing this. So it's just interesting seeing how LeBlanc's magic is this black and red chain, these manifestations of like chains, and how similar that how similar that sounded to what I read about in Realms of Runeterra coming from Vladimir. There's also like relics and stuff in the game, and Legends of Runeterra cards, I think, that corroborate the idea that the power of domination and like binding is I think associated with the world rune of violence. I could be wrong about that. But and that's like red and black too. So yeah, I don't know. Just interesting that you kind of see that motif over and over. Yeah, and I just have always wondered how much blood magic could like link to that. Another thing that Vladimir does in that instance is he uses a Shadow Isles relic, some kind of enchanted medallion, I think, in conjunction with his magic to basically do blood puppeteering on a living person. And what I mean by that is he takes control of this woman and is like forcing her to move using blood magic. It's very much like Naruto blood magic type shit. Or not Naruto, I think that happens in Avatar, blood bending. So yeah, Vladimir does that to someone in that book, and he can like force them to do things physically. So yeah, and then yeah, you have thorns. So yeah, like Black Rose type shit. It just makes me think like LeBlanc has maybe got powers derived from or learned in some capacity from ancient world rune power or tied to blood magic or something. Like I just see that black and red motif that you see with demons, Darken, world rune of violence, blood magic, kind of all blending together at some point. But I don't know. You can also, again, you can use blood magic to control Darken. So what Zolani wanted to do. And I mean, it seems that you can use binding magics on demons too. I mean, we've literally seen LeBlanc do that. So obviously having the true name of the demon is going to aid you in that, having power over it. But yeah, demons and Darken can both be bound and controlled with magics, it seems like. So yeah, very interesting.
Only to see it all burned away in an instant.
I also feel like in this moment, LeBlanc could have killed them. I mean, we saw what happened to that one servant in Arcane.
It all burned away in an instant.
I mean, you get one of these around your neck like that, and if she wants, I feel like you're toast. Like, you're dead. But can't just bring in a new champ and then just fucking kill her. Like, so it just makes me wonder about her intent. If, you know, obviously we have to think, when it comes to LeBlanc, we have to think in layers. Is her layered intention here to figure out how to unmake demons? Because if it is, her intention's not to kill Yunara. It's not to get rid of them. It's to basically use their presence here as an experiment to figure out like what is possible. And by uncovering those layers, you get closer and closer to figuring out how to execute that final point of your plan, which obviously one of the next things in the way is Swain. So she's figuring out how to how to unmake demons. She's not figuring out how to fuck. I actually didn't mean to say that. She's figuring out how to unmake demons. So it seems like LeBlanc is like kind of wants this shit to happen. That her end game isn't even necessarily Zehen. It's figuring out how certain mechanisms work, how certain things are undone and unmade.
Yunara has fallen, and the temple's defenses are destroyed.
All right, see, so it looks like he stabs through him with his hand, stopping him in mid cleave, and then he blocks the weapon. The weapon gets blocked, obviously. In that, so Xin Zhao's he's gonna die anyway. He's fucking toast anyway. So you might as well make the connection, bridge the divide, and bring Zehen back from the other side of the veil within this liminal space in the weapon. That is fucking crazy, dude. It's so crazy. It's so cool to see like Zehen pre-ascension as well, and like see him stand there and contemplate whether or not this is the right decision to make, and ultimately choosing that like it is. Oh my god. And you know what that could mean for other Darkin who are trapped in weapons, man? Oh my fucking god. It's dude, the implications of this cinematic are actually crazy.
No one left.
Touches it right on the eye.
Your power will darken the world, with or without your permission.
You know not what you ask.
I know exactly what I ask. You've sacrificed everything to save this world once. Let me do the
Cracks
same.
showing in it.
I can't.
But it spreads to him, obviously. I can't hold him. And you know, dude, oh my god, I love this so fucking much because to me, it feels like this is an indication, if Varys wasn't already enough. Zehen, it's possible, now he is different, but it's possible that there is some shred of the people that they used to be inside of them, in those weapons, hidden deep down in there. And that they're not completely lost in this like nihilistic pursuit of all destruction of all things from like Aatrox or the vengeance of Varys and stuff like that. Maybe that's really not how it has to be. Just like the vessels for Varys were trying to teach him, trying to show him some empathy, some compassion for what had happened to him, because it really is a horrific thing that happened to the fucking God Warriors. It's really fucking sad. But that doesn't have to be the final path. Man. Oh, oh, that's so sick, dude. Oh, I love that. I love that. And how it's animated, like just this in the same way as Arcane, dude. Oh. Fuck. I love this animation style. Oh, dude, I just love seeing like the fucking armor like expanding from beneath the pauldron plate, like gaining additional like levels and spikes and shit, just like becoming darkinified, dude. Oh, oh yeah. Yeah, all corrupted, dude. Oh, it's fucking sick. Oh man, the music in that shot is so sick, dude. Oh man, it's so fucking badass. Holy fucking shit. And now what? There also appears to be just like a gigantic fucking tree in here. I mean, obviously the Ionian tree, like the trees kind of weave into and shape the buildings and even become the buildings themselves to some degree. That kind of symbiotic relationship between Ionians and the land around them. But man, that's a big fucking tree. That is a huge tree. And I mean, it's not a stretch of the imagination at all to consider the possible links that trees would have to the spirit realm. That is an incredibly common fantasy trope. So this place having a very powerful connection to the other side is not surprising at all, especially with the presence of a fucking tree like that. So that was fucking sick, dude. I love this fucking shot where he like looks up and the music kind of like cascades up a bit, dude. Oh, dude, that's so badass. Oh, that is so fucking badass, dude. I love that. That's so sick. And yeah, he looks to be like almost made of petricite itself. His skin being all gray and stuff, very similar to petricite armaments and armor. Man. Holy shit. And then the League logo here is all darkinified as well. See that? Well, or demonified, whichever way you want to go with that. But I love that. You have this darkness, this just black void behind the logo and the demonic or kind of darkened influence upon it, but you have these just flecks of light kind of glowing among the darkness, illuminating it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see it. I feel like that's just speaking to the solar energy that we just saw at play and perhaps kind of, alluding to Mel's purpose, going forward as well. It's just, that those sparks of light in the all-consuming void. Man. Do you think Zehen will ever become corrupted? I mean, to an extent, he probably already is, but I think that one way that you can often stave off corruption is through, obviously, force of will, but also clear purpose. Like when you're driven with a clear purpose and you know what it is that you seek to do, you're almost like driven by this like inner will. And so I think that if Zehen has clarity of purpose, that can help. Not that someone like Aatrox doesn't have purpose, but a different kind of purpose. Like if Zehen is more inclined to fulfill a benevolent purpose, doing something to save people, where Aatrox's purpose is purely nihilistic destruction and death of himself included. It's just like a different way of looking at it. One is driven by despair. The other is almost maybe driven by hope or duty. And so I think that's what to me has always kind of separated Zehen from the other Darkin, is that and his willingness and ability to consider his own fall to darkness, his own inner darkness, right? Like that's what I think has been so intriguing about him to me, is that alone set him apart from the other Darkin. That he was even able to reflect in that way and consider what he had become or what he feared he would become. I think that alone is like, that's very interesting. That's a different look into the mind of a god warrior than what we typically see with like the representations via other Darkin. So I think Zehen has always been different and interesting, and I really think that this comes back to like hope and willpower and purpose and fulfilling your duty. Like these are virtues and think like positive things that the other Darkin no longer like have. They're more again nihilistic, defeatist. They're despairing. They're seeking vengeance. They're bent in the negative direction, almost like a demon versus like a Kanmei, right? They're bent towards the darkness and not literally the void, but like the negative, you know. So I think, yeah, obviously seeing Shin reflected in himself, I think, I would think, you know, just extrapolating here, that I think that Zehen probably looks at that and has some of that hope and that virtue restored, seeing this warrior's sacrifice, willing to do anything, recognizing that maybe there is no other fucking option. Like, this is the way, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. Like, I feel like that very much could have stirred something very noble and maybe forgotten in Zehen that maybe he didn't even remember was there. You know who else this happens to? Azir. If you read Realms of Runeterra, there's a story about Azir going actually to the village that Zerath came from originally, that's filled with innocent people who are just trying to survive. And this is after, I believe this is after he's risen again, and he goes there with an army of sand amalgamations, just like he does in the game. And there's a young girl who he actually comes upon collecting water from a little stream that's going through Shurima, a river or something like that. And he talks to her. She doesn't, I don't think she recognizes who he is. But the main point is through the story, through interacting with her, he's going to go destroy this village. He is going to go decimate, absolutely lay fucking waste to all of these people that have nothing to do with what Zerath was doing, had done, because of his vengeance. He was driven by this inner darkness that was consuming him, and he wanted to just get back at Zerath for what he did. So his logic was he's just going to fucking destroy where he came from and wipe any fucking memory of Zerath or where he came from off the fucking face of Runeterra. So he's going there to do this, and his interactions with this young girl, like, he says that initially she's like naive, right? But he comes to realize that it's not really naivete. It's this inner innocence, this inner desire to do good. She almost just like doesn't have the concept and will of destruction and like evil in her, and through witnessing her bravery, her determination to like try to convince him to stop and thwart what he's doing, Azir basically like reflects upon himself and realizes that this is not the answer. This is not the right thing to do. And he says to her something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, "At first I thought you naive, but I realize now that there is great wisdom in what you have shown me." And Azir turns and leaves and decides not to carry out the decimation of this village and murder of a bunch of innocent people. Thank God, because they would have stood absolutely zero chance, obviously. And this just kind of reminds me of that. Obviously, Xin Zhao's not like a child, but it's the same premise of like, sometimes we're so consumed by our thirst for vengeance or our hatred or our rage or our suffering that we lose sight of the thing that can truly set us free. And in a way, we imprison ourselves in this existence. And I feel like Aatrox has very much done that. And I feel like this is a great example of Zehen seeing someone who inspires him to not succumb to that same thing. Thank you, girl. I see now genocide is bad. Yeah, I mean, obviously when you put it in goofy, fucking unserious terms like that, it sounds ridiculous. But again, you have to put yourself in Azir's shoes. You have to put him in the shoes of the person who was betrayed, whose empire was laid to waste, at the very cusp of his intent to liberate the slaves and to build a new Shurima for all of its people, and whose empire and warriors had been driven mad after his fall, and he comes back to this just absolutely desecrated fucking echo of what once was, and like and he's just consumed by this hatred for what Xerath did. Like, you have to put yourself in his shoes. He's not thinking clearly. It's obviously not as though Azir has this in his mind. I'm gonna go commit genocide today. Like, that's not where he's at. Like, that's not the mindset. So you have to consider that. But yeah, I feel like that this is maybe a kind of a reflection of that type of interaction. So in that way, it's ironic how the only Darkin to willingly imprison themselves is the one to get a chance to return. Yeah. Yep. I'm going to tell you right now, though, Varys is not irredeemable. It's not impossible. I always forget the name of the second guy, but Kai, and what's the other one's name? That's in there. There's times in those dialogue lines where Valmar, where I swear to God, they're getting through to him. They're getting through to Varys, and Varys has lines where he says things, and paraphrasing, to the extent of like, does it truly have to be this way? Is this truly my fate? Kind of thing. I really would love to see a similar thing happen with Varys, where like he kind of gives in to the influence of Valmar and Kai, and realizes that like vengeance is not the only answer, and that he's gonna suffer eternally if he doesn't muster the willpower to fucking set himself free. And I think that you see this a lot in fantasy. I think you see it a lot in World of Warcraft, and you're probably going to see a lot of it and more of it in League of Legends too, where a lot of our overcoming of darkness is based on our own willpower and our ability to set ourselves free. Like, I think there's a precedent set, especially through some Christian beliefs, that there is a liberator who's going to come and save you. And I think that I can see why that's a cool story to tell yourself, but I think that a lot of times it's really it's you. It's you that has to muster the willpower to set yourself free from certain shackles. So I think that we will see more of this. It's Illidan Stormrage. Only we can save ourselves. Sylvanas will set us all free. And that's what I hoped. But what I failed to realize is that she couldn't even free herself. And that's what's so tragic about Sylvanas. It's like Yone, too. Same fucking thing. He seals Azakana in masks, right? To help the people that are being plagued by them, to help set them free. But what is Yone incapable of doing? Setting himself free. Ugh. And his brother is plagued by a very similar demon. He just doesn't wear it on his face. That's why the Yasuo Yone story is one of my favorites, because it makes me emotional when I talk about it. I love those brothers, dude. I really do. Their story to me is so powerful. It's so good. Because Yone goes the very forceful route, the magical sealing, the breaking and binding of that demonic energy, sealing it away, but not truly destroying it, but sealing it away to give a chance, right? Yasuo is plagued by different demons. Yone is plagued by regret, inability to save people around him, including his brother. And it's ironic because he's unable to set himself free. And Yasuo is similar, where he's plagued by the accusations, or was, the death of his brother at his own hands, and not being able to save the master because he went out to obviously try to fight back against the Noxians. Riven is actually very similar. You see the kind of fractal repeat through the characters, but slightly altered because of their perspectives. The motivations can be different, and the certain emotions tied to it can be different, but the base core trauma is the same. It's guilt. Like, it's guilt. And that's part of why I love the Ionian champions so much, especially that line of characters there that I just described, because they're all plagued by it. And they all tackle it in different ways. Yone melds with his Azakana and becomes a slayer of, or at least binder of demons. Yasuo becomes an alcoholic and a vagabond. Riven becomes essentially an outcast and then a prisoner, So and is unable to forgive herself for what happened. It's like, that's one of the things I love about League, is that while the world itself may be a little more vague and a little bit less formed, the character stories are so fucking good. They're so fucking good. All of them, except Shaco, obviously. But like, all of them are so fucking sick. And it's when you take those small things that exist in a single person and you make them bigger, you can start to see the grand themes that are at play beneath nations like Shurima, that are at play beneath nations like Demacia, that are at play beneath nations like Noxus and Ionia. You see the bigger picture. And dude, that's why I love League lore. That's why I love World of Warcraft lore. That's why I love Final Fantasy lore. That's why I love storytelling and lore in general. Because you get into that nitty-gritty of the characters and you start to see how this plagues people at a grand level. And you start to grapple with the question of like, how the fuck do we fix that? How do we solve that? And maybe it's unsolvable. Maybe you just have to take the little steps where you can get them and hope that those little steps add up to something great. Because there is no way, I don't think anyway, to just change the masses. It's not possible. It isn't. It has to be on a personal level almost every single fucking time. People have to go through their own personal journeys, their own moments of liberation and reflection in order to get to those points. It's all the small little teeny steps that add up to something very big. So anyway, that's my TED Talk. Thanks for coming out. I fucking love this cinematic. This is amazing. I love the intricate, deep levels of storytelling that Riot's cooking, dude. This is fucking sick. And all this stuff, apparently all these cinematics and everything is supposed to be like right after the events of Arcane for some of those Noxian events that are coming up. So, man, I love this shit. I love this shit. I love it. I love it. And there's lots of memes to be had. Is a leaf's only purpose to fall? Follow the wind, but watch your back. But seriously, I love Yasuo. He might be a win shitter and incredibly difficult to play in the game, but man, he's got a great story. There's a reason Liam O'Brien voices that character. I'm telling you, Liam O'Brien as a voice actor has a type. He absolutely does, because Illidan is so similar. He's so fucking similar. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome, dude. I'm so stoked. I mean, it's pretty clear that she's going after Swain. She's going after Swain. I love how the helmet crumbles, because the helmet is ancient. That helmet's very old. So it almost gives me the impression that like it's only even being held together by the demonic essence and the binding magic used by the Coven and Mordekaiser to help keep it together. So like now that magical essence is gone, it just crumbles. Did you see the Joker Rider tweeted out where they said Xin Zhao is now disabled in all queues in League? Oh, I didn't see that. That's funny though. Can you enhance LeBlanc's feet looking? I don't think I can, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't make it any bigger. And she seems pretty happy with this outcome. Seeing how a very powerful demon like Atakan can be unmade, she seems satisfied, learning that this power can be wielded against Ram. And again, I highly suspect that she is going to use Mel to accomplish this, because Mel has solar powers too.
Even demons can be undone.
But what is Swain gonna do to counteract this, man? Because how's he gonna know about this, man? How do you find out? She wanted to use Mel, she failed, and that was her lesson. This plan was bolder, so I assume she's now past Mel. Mel's coming after her? Right, but you guys know how this shit goes. What I mean is more like she's probably gonna try to manipulate events to get Mel to kill Swain, or to kill Ram. That's what I'm talking about. Not like she's just gonna take her under her wing and be like, yes, we're friends. No. I think that obviously she's a schemer. So there might be a plot there where maybe she tries to deceive Mel into thinking that Swain serves her or something like that, or is part of her group, and so she tries to kill Swain or some bullshit like that. There's just so much long game potential for what could happen here. So much long game. LeBlanc's so smart, really embodies the deceiver. Yes, and one thing that I learned in Bringer of Ruin is that all demons in Runeterra share 3 traits in common. They hunger, they lie, and they defy. Lying is deception. It's deceit, right? So that's part of why I want so badly to connect LeBlanc to like a very high level primordial demon of like lies or deception or something like that. I would fuck with that. That would be sick. Yeah, that was a banger. Holy banger, dude. What the fuck? Damn, that was sick. That was definitely worth waiting for, man. That was 100% worth.